Hi guys, it's Wendy again. I'm here to talk to you about scheduling because I don't know how your week's been, but mine's been like totally crazy out of control. So we need to see what we can do about that. So last week I had y'all working on mind maps. And so hopefully by now you've got a mind map for each of the major categories of your life, like work and school and writing and whatever's important to you. Now, you have this series of lines and circles and squiggles and things that maybe don't make any sense to anybody else, but it makes sense to you, and now you can see what's important and what it's going to take to get it all done. Now it's time to whip all those activities into shape, and it seems simple enough to do that, but what do you do when your activities seem to crash against each other? So, for example, maybe you want to clean the house, but that will take time away from your writing time. But you can't really focus on your writing because the house is such a mess. So how do you show that kind of conflict on a chart, and how do you deal with it? Here's some examples. One of the links I shared with you in last Thursday's Thinker lineup was the perfect solution for this situation. So you have your mind maps. Remember, I showed you mine for creative writing, but I also have maps for creativity projects, like sewing and painting and stuff like that. I have work, of course. I have personal care, so things like exercise, meditation, spa, and household, so family time, cleaning, bill paying, all that nice, wonderful things. Now, you have a clear idea from your mind maps of the general things that need to get done, but you might not have like more specific things written down. Like, you know you want to write short stories, but you don't have it written down that you want to submit to Switchgrass Review. So then it's helpful to pull out another piece of paper and write down a list for each category that separates your activities into general and more specific. I don't know if you can see this on my whiteboard. It looks like there's a lot of reflection happening, but that's what I've done here for creative writing. Go ahead and add details as they come to you. The more you can get on the paper, the better. Now that you've got that, this is where Tina Sue's article from last week comes in so handy. Look at your schedule and figure out what kind of productive time you actually have in a day to get all this stuff done. Now, if you work at home, it's going to be really tempting to say, well, 24 minus 8 hours to sleep means I've got 16 hours. Yay! But don't do that, because seriously, you're not going to be productive every single waking minute, I promise. A good estimate is to say, okay, I've got 10 hours of productive time in a day, which gives me 70 hours a week, and it allows for some randomness in your day, and it allows for a little chill time too. Do it on the week basis, because it really helps when you go to break down into days, because each day is not necessarily going to be the same. So now you go and you prioritize your categories. So maybe work needs to have more time. Maybe you've got a set schedule of 20 or 30 hours a week, and you need to build everything else around that. So go in and figure out how many hours per week you're going to assign to each major category. So for me, I've got 25 hours on work, 15 hours on creative writing, and 10 hours each on personal care, household, and creativity projects. Now that you've done that, you can break your schedule down into daily schedules. So maybe you want your weekdays to be 5 hours of work, and then 2 hours on creative writing, and then an hour each for personal care, household, and creativity projects, or whatever your subjects are. Then you can distribute differently. It's really easy to distribute differently on the weekends because, like you've got all those work hours out of the way. Now you can say, okay, I want 2.5 hours each for creative writing, creativity projects, personal care, and household. Or maybe you want a longer block, so you can do 5 hours of creative writing on Saturdays and 5 hours of creativity projects on Sundays. It's all up to you. You get to decide. Yay! And voila! Your life is balanced. All of a sudden, you've got time to do everything that's important to you, and you have confidence that everything is getting done at the same time. Now, don't be afraid to go back and check on yourself and make sure that this schedule is actually working for you. And if it's not, make the adjustments as necessary. Now, what do you think? Will this help you schedule your day a little better? And schedule your week a little better? Get more things done? Be sure and let me know in the comments so that I can figure out how to help you better. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.